Doesn't anybody listen to the lyrics anymore? Blind spot bias. It's another saying that they've got going. I don't know if it's an old thing or something new that's popped up, but it does make sense. It's that human nature thing. Blind spot bias, not knowing that we have a blind spot. Everything that we believe, we think we know everything, including myself, but blind spots. I could be missing something, but because I'm so sure of what I'm saying, I miss it, basically. It's about being objective enough to understand that we're not being objective. I spoke about this last week or the week before that. Now, I don't believe I have blind spot bias. And I know I'm objective. So, like, when I see these things, I do think. I don't think about the Dunning-Kruger when people, I double check to check myself fairly often because one has to, right? You don't want to be leading people down the wrong path with the knowledge that I am sharing, and it is correct knowledge. I stand by what I say. And by using, if people use logic and common sense to work stuff out that I'm talking about, you will realize that I am correct in what I say. A couple of months ago, might have even been before Christmas, leading up to my Christmas, the Advent calendar. I started on the 15th of December. These names, Schwarzschild Effect and the Sagnac Effect, were both on. I think the Sagnac Effect was the first one, 14th or the 15th of December. These are words, people, achievements, inventions, whatever's, discoveries, that are only to be found in the digital world. Now, what I mean by the digital world is not in any published books, right? Now, we're going to go over these two again, okay? The Schwarzschild Effect, both of these things, and the Sagnac Effect are both fairly linked in with relativity. If you Google, you'll find this stuff. Oh, Schwarzschild Effect, 1899, Carl Blackchild, Schwarzschild. What? Black hole. What? It's strange stuff, right? He does not exist. He hasn't ever existed. The first one I go to is my 1961 book of popular science, okay? Look, I have been through 12 to 13 sets of encyclopedias, plus other books, reference books, science books, physics books, that kind of a thing. They're not in any of the published encyclopedias. I've got 1955, 61, about 13 up until 1992 or 93 or 97. Anyway, my latest one is 1990 something. They're not in any of these books. They are not in. This is another one of my go-tos. Hang on, let's come in here so you can see. All right, the Dictionary of Biography. Now, this is such a good book because it just has, it's good when you put it the right way up. Everybody who's done anything, Dalton John, Dalton Hyde, everybody, you see the write-ups that they do, okay? Now, these people are not in this book. This is 1988. Now, the one book, the reason I'm doing this today, I've done my advent calendar last year. Check it out. 15th of December, 16th, 17th, every single day. I picked a name of a person or some discovery or effect that are only on Google, Wikipedia. This is what people are failing to understand. I call it, the people do not have the mental tools to be able to differentiate between the digital world and what people are finding, reading, seeing, watching through devices and actual reality. There is a digital world where stuff is only happening digitally. It's not real. It's not happening in the real world, right? People, some of you guys, it's 2026. You have never known a life without devices. You guys, so many of you say to me, search on Google, you'll find it there. It's like, seriously, you must understand something. NASA and Google have been working together since 2005. It's like a big massive weight, getting hit by a massive weight when people say, it's on Google, you can find it there. Because folks, honestly, it's, doesn't anybody listen? Right, the digital world, the Schwarzschild effect. Now this book here, it's the timetables of history. It's good. It's full of lies. When I say it's full of lies, I mean it is full of lies, right? The new third revised edition. It starts at 5000 BC, right? And it goes along that way. And we have history, politics, literature, theatre, religion, philosophy and learning, visual arts, music, science, technology and growth. Look at this. 4001 to 5000 BC. The Egyptian calendar regulated by sun and moon, 360 days, 12 months, 30 days each. Copper alloys used by Egyptians and Sumerians. Smelting of gold and silver known. Earliest known numerals in Egypt, first date. It's just got everything, okay? I say it's got everything. It has, and daily life. Now, what we're going to do, look, there is so much. This is 1500 to 2000 BC. History, politics, Egyptians in control of Crete and Aegean Islands. Social unrest in Egypt. This is literature, theatre. Egyptians use alphabet of 24 signs. There's just so much. See, you zoom out. There's so much stuff, right? Obelisks in Egypt serve as sundials. Leprosy in India, Memphis. Anyway, look, this goes on and on. My point is, we are going to go to 1899, all right? All right, here we go. 1869, hang on, let me just get this where we need to be. Now, that stuff, we're going to talk about the Sagnac effect. It's not in any of the encyclopedias, okay? Every book, not one of the books I have in this shed is there a mention of either Schwarzschild by Carl Schwarzschild or the Sagnac effect by George Sagnac. They do not exist. They only exist in your digital world. We're going to start in 1896, 1897, 1898. I always do a few years after and before, just in case they've got a year wrong. Now, this stuff You look up relativity on Wikipedia, you get all the links where you can click on the names that are in blue. Click on Einstein or relativity, right? In that first page, if it isn't in the first one where you can click on different names and links, everything's intertwined, on the second page, they both pop up. They are not joined at the hip with relativity, but they have made it sound like this stuff was real. All these different effects and this and that, and it's all to justify the nonsense that they push today, right? Now, when I say it's not in any of the books, it's not in any of the books. I have the usuals: the Galileo, the Copernicus, the Kepler, the Newton, the usual, the likely lads, the ones that are on this board. But I say that they were fed into humanity's history to justify the moon landing and stuff. What they've done is added more names, but they can't add them to the encyclopedias. They've added more names, suggesting, look at these dates: 1905, Einstein, right? The photon, the photoelectric effect, all of that stuff, relativity, it's all in the books. You would think that something that happened in 1913 would also be in all of the books, along with Newton and Einstein, etc. Zero mention. Zero mention, right? So, the reason I'm looking at this history book and wanting to read it is because, unlike the others, this book has got loads of everything that happened in that year, right? So 1899, we are on 1896, science technology. William Ramsay discovers helium. Ernest Rutherford, magnetic detection of electrical waves. Niagara Falls hydroelectric plant opens. Alfred Nobel died. Alfred Nobel died, born in 1833. French physicist A.H. Barrett discovers radioactivity. First English all still building West Hartlepool. This is 96. So, look, 1897, Ronald Ross discovers malaria. No, you can see it. Nothing. Julius Hahn, climatology. 1898, Ramsay discovers the inert atmospheric gases, xenon, krypton, and neon. The Jap, bacteriologist Shiga discovers dysentery. The Jap. Discovers, that's a bit wrong, isn't it? The Jap. Bacteriologist Shiga discovers dysentery bacillus. Pierre Marie Curie discovers radium and polonium. German Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin builds his airship. Now, as you can see, it's not that we're looking up someone's name, are we? We're looking up stuff that happened in that year. And there is a lot of science. Why is this stuff not in here? You look on Wikipedia, look. It's obvious what the truth is. It's stuff that has been added to the digital world so that they can just keep on with this charade of, God, just so tiring. It's so tiring. Right? So, didn't happen, right? Rutherford, 1899. Right? Carl Schwarzschild effect. Rutherford discovers alpha and beta rays in radioactive atoms. Pringsheim and Lummer undertake important radiation studies. First magnetic recording of sound. Let's go to the 1900s. A year later, F.E. Dorn discovers radon. Max Planck formulates quantum theory. The first Browning revolvers manufactured. American scientist Essendon transmits human speech via radio waves. First trial flight of Zeppelin. Arthur Evans excavations in Crete. Discovery of Minoan culture. And then I'll do one more. I'll go to 1901 just to make sure. I've read all of the science ones, so I know they're not there anyway, but this is what I do. Following a century of steam, the century of electricity begins. Max Planck, laws of radiation. The hormone adrenaline first isolated. Marconi transmits telegraphic radio messages from Cornwall to Newfoundland. First motor-driven bicycles. Nobel Prize physics. Wilhelm, so look, you can see, did it, right? Nobel Prize. William Merbeck, first made Mercedes car. And just for fun, 1902. Physics states existence of an atmospheric layer which aids the conduction of radio waves. American neurological surgeon Bayliss and Stalin discover the hormone secretin. French physician and Charles Richet discovers anaphylaxis, abnormal sensitivity to a serum treatment. US invents the art generator, becomes the first man to cross. Oh, look! Right, you catch my drift. Now, there cannot be any evidence, not damning, but obvious, people, right? People read all this stuff. Constant. We've discovered another exoplanet. We've discovered this. Quantum entanglement, that. Scientists discover just this bang, bang, every day. Every day it's something else. And I'm there always going, liars and charlatans. Defies common sense. Defies logic. And people come at me. Why does it? This is why. Because of these things. When you look up relativity and Einstein and what he got up to, special relativity, all of it, it's interconnected. All of the names and the effects and the achievements, the discoveries, everything, folks, is linked. It's not joined at the hip, but it is joined. It's like these things are so joined. You look these two up. See what it has to do in relation to relativity, the way it's been suggested that, the things that it did. And then imagine that these things didn't exist. You can see the elaborate lies that have been made up. For those people, it's that, remember, the blind spot, folks. This is not my blind spot. This is what I've been doing for years, right? It's not my blind spot. I am being objective. I am going where the evidence leads me, right? Apollo 10. What did it do? It didn't do anything, but the story goes, Apollo 10, woof, woof, up there in May 1969. They descended, they split up with the guy in the command capsule, dropped down to 7, 8, 9 miles from the moon, shot back up, joined up with the command capsule, made it home time for pancakes. That was in May 1969. They got out, they re-entered like a re-entry, should have had a good... God, imagine the money to be made in the 1969, 90s with the re-entry markets. Ooh, cha-ching. What I'm saying, Apollo 10 went up there, they took the pics that allowed Armstrong, Collins, and Buzz Aldrin to land on the moon. Not Michael Collins, he stayed up. Right? Now, understanding how things work, this is how clear cut this stuff is. May 69, July 69. Now, the same as this stuff. Of course, they didn't shoot up there in 1969, in May 1969, take some pictures. Use thrust in the vacuum. Back up. I still struggle. People believe this stuff. I really do. It didn't happen. Which means Apollo 11 didn't happen, right? Which means Apollo 12 didn't happen. And so on. These things, when you realize how linked these things are, it's almost they put all of their eggs in one basket. You start pulling at one strand and the whole thing unravels. All it takes is the understanding that none of this stuff is in any of my books, my encyclopedias, my science, my physics, all of that stuff. These names are not mentioned. They are only mentioned in the digital world, your devices. You think you have knowledge. You think you're learning. You think it's correct information when you Google and you Wikipedia, but it is not. That is kind of what I wanted to say. I'm not going to read the other one, the Sagnac Effect. It's just exactly more of the same. More of me reading stuff from 1910, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All of the science stuff. Let's just read a couple because it's interesting. There are so many lies in this stuff, lies about the Egyptians. Have you guys seen the footage of the pyramids and Giza? How on earth does anybody build that with copper tools? Seriously, it just amazes me how far away some people are from actual reality. It's, as I sometimes say, insane. Right, 1913. Right, here we go. So, we're looking for the Sagnac effect, whatever that is, Sagnac effect. We're looking at 1913, so that's 1912 continued, so we will go back to 1912, just to make sure they haven't got a year on, you know. They could have made a mistake. You're right. Polish chemist Casimir Funk coins the term vitamin. Edwin Bradenberger invents a process for manufacturing cellophane. R.F. Scott, Scott of the Antarctic, reaches South Pole. Joseph Lord Lister, English surgeon, died. V. Stephenson and R. Anderson explore Arctic Canada. Wilson's cloud chamber photographs lead to the detection of protons and electrons. Debbie propounds theory of specific heat of solids. Victor Hess discovers, continued, so we're in 1912, and we're looking for the Sagnac effect from 1913. So, we'll be on this page, we'll go to 1912, and continued cosmic radiation. Paul Ehrlich introduces acriflavin as antiseptic, Nobel Prize for Medicine, Alexis Correct. Right, 1913. Again, the reason that I'm reading it out and showing you, it's because we're not looking up a name. We're looking at all of the stuff that was done that year, right? George Sagnac, 1913, the Sagnac effect. It's interlinked with everything relativity. Right, 1913. J.J. Thomson, rays of positive electricity and their application to chemical analysis. H. Geiger introduces the first successful electrical device capable of counting individual alpha rays. Niels Bohr formulates his theory of atomic structure. Frederick Soddy coins the term isotope. Diphtheria immunity test discovered by Bela Schick. Diphtheria, look, some of this stuff. Composition of chlorophyll discovered by Richard Willstatter. Vitamin A isolated by biochemist McCollum at Yale University. Robert Lieben, Austrian physicist, died. H.N. Russell formulates theory of stellar evolution. Friedrich Bose converts coal dust into oil. Max Bodenstein formulates his concept of chemical chain reaction. René Lorin states the basic ideas of jet propulsion. Chemical element proctinium discovered. And we could go on to 1914, the year later. GHG radiation and the quantum theory. Fertilization through peat discovered by Bottomley. C.D. Broad, perception, physics and reality. The American... You can see... Right, I'm going slow, I keep reading, it's not worth it. Nobel Prize for Chemistry. Theodore Richard, US court decides patent suit on airplane in favour of Wright brothers against Glenn Curtis. Dr. Alexis Carrel performs first successful heart surgery on a dog. Woo! Cape Cod Canal opened between Cape Cod and Buzzards Bay. That was 1914. I assure you, I have read all of the science ones throughout that book. I've read most of that book. I assure you that just like these ones, where the names, the usual names, you can see how much was done in that year, right? The names aren't in any of the encyclopedias. The effects aren't in any encyclopedias. None of those history books, none of the science books, the physics books, any books. It's only to be found in the digital world. Now, I really hope that helps, okay? I will be back. Is there anything else I wanted to say? I've got 2 minutes. Yes! Whoever put my name forward for Scientist of the Year, Rookie Scientist of the Year, for my encounter with a black hole, thank you for putting my name forward. It's nice to be appreciated. All right, folks, I'll be back. I will be back.